ਤੇ ਉਧਰ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੇ ਸ਼ੁੱਕਰਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਚੀਨ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਵਾਦਗ੍ਰਸਤ ਵਿਵਾਦ ਦੇ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਉੱਚ ਪੱਧਰੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਉੱਤਰੀ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਗੁਆਂਢੀ ਵਿਚਕਾਰ ਸਬੰਧਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਗੁੰਝਲਦਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਖਤਰਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਮਰੀਕੀ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਪੋਂਪੀਓ, ਰੱਖਿਆ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਿਮ ਮੈਟਿਸ ਨੇ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮਾਮਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀਆ ਫਰੀਲੈਂਡ ਅਤੇ ਡਿਫੈਂਸ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਹਰਜੀਤ ਸੱਜਨ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਹਮਾਇਤੀਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ। ਚੀਨ ਦੀ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹਵਾਈ ਦੀ ਚੀਫ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਆਫਿਸਰ ਮੇਂਗ ਵਾਨਿਓ ਦੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਈ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਦੋਹਾਂ ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਭੇਦ ਵਧਦਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ। CFO ਦੀ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੀਨ ਨੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਮਾਈਕਲ ਕੋਵਰਿਜ ਅਤੇ ਕਾਰੋਬਾਰੀ ਮਾਈਕਲ ਸਪਾਵੋਰਡ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਜ਼ਮੀ ਉਪਾਅ ਤਹਿਤ ਹਿਰਾਸਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖ ਲਿਆ। ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਫਰੀਲੈਂਡ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਨੂੰ ਆਗਾਹ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਮੇਂਗ ਦੀ ਹਵਾਲਗੀ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਦਾ ਸਿਆਸੀਕਰਨ ਨਾ ਕਰੇ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰਪਤੀ ਡੋਨਾਲਡ ਟਰੰਪ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੜੀ ਗਈ ਚੀਨੀ CFO ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਖਲ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇਸ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਸ ਸਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਸੀ।
Thank you all for being here with us today. Secretary Mattis and I are very pleased to welcome our Canadian counterparts, Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland and Minister of Defense Harjit Sajjan, to Washington. Welcome. It was a great day, and indeed it was my honor to host this State Department 2+2 strategic dialogue, and it's a great opportunity for us to have gotten some serious work done, but it's also a discussion amongst friends. The four have gotten to know each other quite well, and we've achieved a lot together. Our meeting today comes after the historic signing of the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, which was a tremendous victory for all three countries. I want to especially thank Minister Freeland for her efforts to make this happen. Look, the final deal is a home run. It modernizes NAFTA to address 21st century issues, 21st century economy, open trade and business opportunities for United States farmers and manufacturers, reduce trade barriers amongst the three countries. In today's meeting, the four of us discuss how we can continue to build off of this, take this achievement and make progress on a worldwide range of bilateral and global issues. On the bilateral front, we discussed our joint efforts to ensure North America is vigorously protected by both our militaries in close cooperation with one another. We also had the chance to discuss our bilateral cooperation to promote economic security by countering technology transfers, intellectual property theft, and other attempts to acquire sensitive technology from our two countries. This will enhance security by ensuring our economic competitiveness and preserving our military capabilities. These joint efforts support a comprehensive trading relationship and millions of jobs in our two countries.
There are no closer partners in the world than Canada and the United States. We share the world's longest undefended border, and we are each other's largest export market. Since the Second World War, we have worked side by side to build the rules-based international order and to fight for liberal democracy around the world. This 2+2 meeting has been in the works for a while, and it is a real pleasure to have been able to spend some time with our U.S. colleagues here in Washington to discuss our bilateral relationship and also some of the global challenges that we're confronting together. As is always the case when we meet, we discussed a number of issues around foreign policy, defense, and international security that reflect the deeply shared values that unite our two countries. We discussed China and the case of Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou, building on a conversation that Secretary Pompeo and I began soon after her arrest. We all agree that the most important thing we can do is to uphold the rule of law, ensure that Ms. Meng's right to due process is respected, and that the current judicial process in Canada remains apolitical. We also discussed some consular issues, two which are very concerning for Canada today, the detention of Michael Kovrig and Michael Sapfor. On Russia and Ukraine, Minister Sajjan and I expressed our condemnation of Russia's harassment of shipping in the Sea of Azov and the Kerch Strait, and in particular its recent aggressive action towards an illegal seizure of 3 Ukrainian vessels on November 25th and the imprisonment of Ukrainian sailors. We call on Russia to release these sailors. Canada unwaveringly supports the people of Ukraine, its sovereignty and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders. We touched on some hemispheric issues, including the brutal authoritarian regime that is causing a dangerous crisis in Venezuela, as well as troubling developments in Nicaragua. We took the opportunity to reiterate our support for the United States' efforts towards a denuclearized Korean peninsula and our efforts in the area of sanctions evasion.
And today's meeting signals how our two militaries work to stay closely aligned on a range of issues worldwide. For Americans feel an enduring, almost familiar kinship with Canada, and in my case, it is familial. My mother's family immigrated to America after my grandfather was wounded in action in World War I in the Canadian infantry. Canadian and American forces have fought bravely alongside each other in the Great War, at Normandy, to Kandahar, Afghanistan, following the 9/11 attack on our country. And today we continue our cooperation in pursuit of our mutual security. We are united in the North American Air Defense Command, where Canadian and U.S. fighters together guard the skies above North America and our 360 million people. We are united in NATO, where we uphold transatlantic unity and stand with European allies against the full scope of Russian malign influence, to include Moscow's recent brazen contempt of international law in the Kerch Strait and action against the Ukrainian people. Canadian and U.S. trainers in Western Ukraine and our battalions in the Baltics represent our combined efforts to build stability and deter further provocative activity. Canada and the United States are united in security because we are united in democracy, and democracies stick together for the common defense. Today, we focused on enhancing our already strong cooperation in a number of areas that you've heard about, from foreign military sales to sanctions coordination. Like Secretary Pompeo, I am grateful for Canada's leadership in forcing unanimous UN Security Council resolutions on sanctions that support the denuclearization of North Korea.
As my colleague, Minister Freeland said, we have had a productive meeting to discuss our shared defense priorities. The United States is Canada's most important ally and defense partner. Our relationship is long-standing, deeply entrenched, and multifaceted. Our relationship was forged on the battlefield, fighting side by side. It is rooted in our shared geography, in our common values, in our historic connections, and in our highly integrated economies. And it is unique in its levels of integration and military-to-military cooperations at all levels and across the globe. The Canadian Armed Forces and the United States military stand shoulder to shoulder to protect and defend the continent of our citizens. NORAD is the most notable example of this cooperation. We have been working together seamlessly for over 60 years since its inception to protect North America against current and future threats.